sorry, Justin Smith and
Justin Rawlinson.
we're here with Erupted Vapor.
Yeah, we are the brain fathers of Erupted Vapor, and we have 5 stores throughout the Pacific Northwest, stretching from Longview all the way down to Camas and Vancouver. And we're here talking about kind of some of the ways that we've seen vaporizers and this technology affect people's lives.
Positive.
Yeah, positive.
I'm trying to think of any negative that's even come from anybody we've come across so far.
The only negative I can think of that's come from this technology has been Jules' impact on the industry. And so I can recall several customers. The ones that always stand out to me the most aren't the people who've been smoking for a very short period of time have quit, although that's very heartening. I think the people that have affected me the most personally are the people who come in with oxygen tanks one day, and then several months later are still regular customers when they're not coming in with oxygen tanks anymore. I think that's a big thing. Because you know they haven't been cured. Like, they're not cured of whatever illness they had from cigarettes and combustible tobacco use. But you know that you've had a positive impact because that person doesn't have to lug around an oxygen tank anymore. They're breathing a little bit easier because they're not progressing it further along. They're able to have a better quality of life that they wouldn't have had before.
Well, I think the thing is here, you don't have to look very far, right? You look at someone that's been smoking 5, 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. They'll talk to you about struggling to go upstairs, to do their normal routines, take care of their kids. I mean, just basic stuff. Maintain activity, right?
Yeah.
Smoking. But you see these same people switch to vapor and instantly describe not being sick, being able to go upstairs without breathing hard. I mean, just this overall impact that they're still getting, I guess, what they need in the nicotine, right? Because they have the addiction of nicotine particularly. But they're not getting as sick from the cigarettes themselves.
I can speak to that personally. I mean, I was a soccer player for, almost 30 years now. And when I was in my 20s, I had to quit playing because I was getting so sick on the field playing because I was up to 2.5 packs a day. I wasn't quitting without vaping. I used Chantix, I used patches, I used gum. I tried cold turkey numerous times. And it wasn't until my nephew, actually, who was one of the original founders of our company, introduced me to a flavor in a vape pen. Because I had had blue once before. A lot of people don't remember that blue came out years before the regular vape industry kind of took off. And I had blue, and it was nice and everything, but it wasn't effective.
You talk about all these smokers, right? One of the huge reasons that we came in, what we thought we were going to do different, was instead of making it about the hobby that it seemed to be, the kind of crowd it was, we really wanted to open this up. There was a whole lot of smokers in both of our families, a lot of people getting sick. And we really felt like if we created this, we brought these people here, that we could actually help everybody with smoking. And so far, I mean, significant. You can watch the turn of customers that return that drop their cigarettes. I mean, it's effective.
You have to take a place that has the same sort of social boundaries that we do. And a place like that would be like the UK. They're very similar to us in the sense that they have the same sort of sociology, they have the same sort of economic makeup, they have the same sort of economy in general. So if we take a look at them, they immediately instituted a policy that was not favorable to vaporizers. And actually a lot of people kind of get upset about it. You're limiting our nicotine, you're making it so nicotine can't come in flavors by themselves, so they have to mix them together and shake them. There's no advertisements we're allowed to do, but immediately it exploded over there, just like it exploded over here. And the reason for that is because the government understood that it was less harmful and advocated for it as an alternative to cigarettes, because they don't have the master settlement agreement over there. That's not a thing for them. So as soon as you look at that and go, okay, well, it's not a thing for them, but they're creating intelligent legislation. It's just this kind of haphazard sort of banning things that harm small businesses, but none of the ones that will harm large businesses.
But being that the concern is the kids, let's mitigate that. How do we mitigate it? We've already added the tax.
Yeah.
So you got a barrier to entry, which is debatable if that really is, because I think all the reports come out that kids actually have more disposable income than adults. So I'm not really sure how the tax plays into that. But the other one is to 21 and over establishments. That's what we're going to here.
Yep.
It should be effective, right? You create years in between school-age kids and the buyers. Okay, you take out the seniors, for example. Sorry, seniors. but right, you take out the seniors, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's the right thing to do. I don't have a problem with that. What about the nicotine cap? Because I think that that's key.
The nicotine cap is a huge part of this. I think the nicotine cap, look, kids shouldn't be feeling high if they had a 70 milligram per milliliter vaporizer problem. They shouldn't. Because it is a head rush, even for a traditional cigarette smoker. I mean, I was smoking 2.5 pack a day, so if you handed me a 70, it would have dropped me. I mean, I moved to a 24, and I thought that was plenty enough. And I think even 24 is a little bit high. You know, looking back, especially with as much as the technology has progressed. I mean, the e-liquid that I got was almost brown in color. So, you know, I think the cap should be 20. I think it should be a hard cap of 20 for salt or traditional free vapes. It doesn't matter. Just because you made it smoother doesn't mean you should do it. Ultimately, we want to see this industry go positive directions, and we want to see positive and good legislative actions come around to help people be able to transition from a conventional form of combustible tobacco. And, you know, we could sit here and not only lament, but we could talk about the science for hours, because that's what part of what I staked my own claim on, just personally, when I sold was the science, truly the science behind it. Because people would come in, especially in the beginning. You remember all the questions? What's the difference? Isn't it just smoking? Well, no. And let me break it down for you. I mean, really, you had to you had to understand the Ohm's law, and nowadays, I mean, is that as necessary as it used to be? No, because it stopped being a hobbyist thing and started being mainstream. Partially, that's because of Juul, but partially it's because we were around for a long time. People saw how effective it was. So yeah, we could sit here for a while and talk about this stuff, but I think ultimately we just want to get that message out that it's time for people to start realizing that they're maybe not intentionally being lied to, maybe not willfully being lied to, but they're being misled and misinformed.
I think it's time to invite the right leaders to the conversation. You're bringing the wrong people from the wrong industries. If you want people that are going to help you put in the stuff that you need to make this effective, then you need to come to us and find the leaders. Because even while we might be leaders here, we look up to other people in the industry. We can point the way to the leaders.